Today I'm going to show you guys how to put the Dalton clutch kit on the Can-Am Maverick. So we're just to get started on that, and also we use these videos to show you how to properly torque primary. It's obviously controversial, the primary clutch on this thing. So we're going to use what we call the preferred torquing method of torquing the primary, and also the preferred torquing method for the secondary. And again, they're both a little controversial. It's the way we're going to do it and the way we recommend doing it. So anyway, let's get started on this. Alright, the first thing we're going to do, by the way, mine's already been off one time. It's just kind of put back together, but we're going to go through the operation. But anyway, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our belt off. So you take the secondary spreader that comes in the tool kit that comes with the Maverick, spread it, screw it into the threaded hole in the secondary. Okay. Now, there's a myth about belt direction. You do need to put it back on the way you take it off. That part's true. The first time you put it on, it's irrelevant as long as you repeat the same process. They come with a rotation, but actually the real truth is if the very first time it had been put on that direction, it wouldn't have mattered as long as you repeat. So whatever way you take your belt off, that's the way you want to put it back on. Okay, obviously we're taking that loose. Alright, now what you want to do is you want to mark your secondary clutch with the helix or whatever you want to call it there in the back, so that it can go back on. Alright, so we're going to put a mark here, and I'm going to reach down in there and put a mark so I can put it right back in the same place. Actually, mine's already got the Dalton secondary spring in it from earlier. Alright, I'm going to use an impact to remove it. I'm surely not going to put an impact on it to put it back. Now what I'm using, and we will sell them, is actually an Arctic clutch holder, and it can be used on the secondary or the primary, whereas the Can-Am tools, I believe, is two different tools. This makes a more economical use. I happen to have had this, and just so happened it worked. You can slide it in here and then you can hold it. Alright, taking it off. So if you were having to use a ratchet or whatever pull handle, you would need it. Alright, now it's going to spring out at you a little bit. Alright. And I'm going to hold it. Alright, you want to keep pressure on it. Alright, now like I said, mine, I already had the Dalton spring on it from an earlier installation. Okay, so if we were going to just change the spring, pull it on off, take our stock spring off, grab our Dalton, and put it back on. Okay, now mine's brand new vehicle, but if you want to take the time to clean it, now would be a good time to separate two halves, clean it with Scotch-Brite and grease brake free, and put it back together. Okay, so this is the fun part I found out earlier. The instructions state to get some help, and I'm telling you, I can believe it. Now I'm also going to stop right here. We're going to offer replacement bolts, okay? Because these are what's called torque to yield bolts, meaning they stretch, and they're really only for one-time use. So it's up to you. I mean, you do what you want. Don't say we told you any different, but it'd be best that you use a brand new bolt and you use blue Loctite on it. Alright, for today's, I'm just putting it back on because this one's coming right back off again for something else. So take a brand new bolt, put blue Loctite on it. Alright, slide it in here, and then you've got to try to, I used earlier, and some people may think this is unorthodox, but so be it. I used a pry bar. I got it started and then I got up on the muffler or the exhaust pipe and I pushed it inward. Again, we got our marks lined up with the helix and where we marked our secondary. Okay, now this made it easy to get it back on. Alright, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to use a socket, bottom it out, 17 millimeter, and then I'll get my torque wrench out. Okay, now I'm going to back off of it just a shade. Okay. Now here's where the clutch holder and the torque wrench come into play. Alright, so I'm going to use the two non-threaded holes. Alright, and I'm going to let it rest back on the plastic here to give me a good stop. Now the new torquing method is going to be, and this comes from Can-Am actually, torqued 15 pounds. Alright, there's 15 pounds. Now also what it says do is torque 180 pounds. So I'm going to go 90, I mean not 180 pounds, but 180 degrees. Alright, so I'm going to go 90. There's the first 90. .180 degrees. Okay. Now some people would say, well, that's 54 pounds on my torque wrench. Well, guess what? The torque, by doing it this method, is going to be a little bit different each time. So we want to go exactly by this method, 15 pounds and then 180 degrees of rotation. And like I said, you're going to have to hold it for that. And I'll repeat, use a brand new bolt as recommended, put blue Loctite on it. Okay, now we're going to move over to our primary. Alright, it's a 21 millimeter. Hold it with your left hand. If yours is stuck, you may very well have to bump it with a rubber hammer or to get it to pop loose. That's what I had to do. Alright, in this particular application, I'm not changing my primary spring. We're reusing the stock primary, the Dalton secondary. Okay, so lay this to the side, and you want to mark it before you take it apart so you can put it back together the same way. If you're going to use any brake clean or anything, just don't clean your marks off. Alright, so I got my primary marked up. Now in this Dalton kit, it comes with only three flyweights, not 6. Okay, this would be a good time to go ahead if you want to, depending on where you want to do it in the installation, but clean the tapers. You can slide your primary spring off, take some brake clean because it doesn't leave any residue. And clean the tapers off. Mine's already been cleaned from earlier where I was playing with it, and I'm going to wipe them off again, get that taper clean, and inside here. Now's a good time, like I said, mine's a brand new unit. Be a good time to inspect your rollers. They're called rollers, but they're not round anymore. Check them for any undue wear, smoothness of operation. You also want to check in your primary here for any movement. Make sure everything moving like that you want to. Okay, so we're going to use 3 of these in 120 degrees apart. It doesn't matter which one, but 3 120 degrees apart.